All right, magandang gabi, Pinoy Reds all over the world. Well, if you're from another part of the world, magandang hapon, magandang umaga. Welcome to a impromptu special episode number 3 of Pinoy Shetford Enders. Of course, as usual
Oh
with me
yeah.
is our captain, Gary. All right,
Yan,
so tonight is special
magandang gabi sa
episode.
mga Pinoy diyan.
Yeah. So tonight is we got a lot of fresh faces joining us in the panel today.
Oh yeah.
But before that, we have one guy joining us from last week. We have Gab. Yeah, nahuli kita.
Hello, Reds. What's up,
Right.
Reds?
And then we have the honorable attorney, Charles Sihano.
Hello, thanks for having me, guys. Thank you. Magandang gabi. Chill.
We have Mr. Paulo Del Rosario, of course.
Hello, guys. Nice to be here.
And our ad man, Jason Cruz.
What's up, guys? Hello. Happy to be here.
With the City fan as a best man. So, just had to say it, man.
Oh,
The
no.
only City
Oh,
fan that
no.
I can stand, man. The only
Yeah.
City fan
You
I can stand.
didn't.
They're having a good game now anyway. So, let's just focus on the Reds because, second is the most realistic position that we're going to get. All right. So, I know you're still pumped with the 6-2 thumping of Roma. Second half FC again. Like if I was watching that live, I would be pissed by halftime. But they did it. They Oli brought out the hair dryer, and then boom,
Boom.
5 goals, one half. So Gary, what's your take on the whole game in general? Like, why do we keep starting slow, and what happens in the halftime break, and then we just take off from there?
Well, for starters, I would love to be a fly in that locker room. Kung ano man yung sinabi ni Oli sa players, because I also caught the replay and it was bad, man. We were just out of sorts in like the first half. And traditionally, no disrespect to Roma or any AS Roma fans watching, but they've been our punching bag when it comes to European competition. But the second half was just like night and day. And I want to throw this question out to everybody on the panel. Is this guaranteed na? Are we playing in Gdansk on the 26th? So is this tied done and dusted? So yun.
My,
I
nakakatakot
hope so.
because
Yeah, I mean,
nakakatakot because Barcelona, right? They did it to Barcelona. They were four
They did it to Barcelona.
goals down. Tama, yeah. It was 5-1 in the first leg. Tama
Yes.
ba? Then 4-0.
PSG,
And
yeah.
they reversed it, so-
so you Gab.
I know,
So
in Roma, Barcelona, no?
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
Ay,
Or
Oo,
Gab,
yeah.
what specifically is making you nervous going to the second leg next week? I mean, United has been better away from Old Trafford. Maybe because it's the seats. We had the black seats now, so that's why we're doing better. But what's making you nervous specifically going to the second leg?
If Roma turns their seats into red. But overall, I think definitely unless we concede 2 quick goals in the first half, and sana hindi ako dilang hell, my goodness.
Mhm.
But that will be the only thing. I think that will be where I will sweat. But overall, I don't think we're a team that loses a lot of goals. As Oli said in his interview, yesterday, schoolboy goals. No? So I think we've been really solid at the back end. Sobrang, well, the Pogba penalty, he gave away the penalty, and that Dzeko tap in. So overall, I think it's there. We're like 90% there, 1.5 feet in. But yeah, I fully expect either a draw or a United win in the second leg. So
All right, thanks for that, Gab. Charles was the first one here in the studio, and he was hyping himself up with some extended highlights from that game.
Yeah,
So you,
yeah.
Charles, what's your main takeaway from the 6-2
Okay.
thumping?
I think it's done and dusted. To be honest, we have been good, and then we have gotten better, and then last game against Roma, it was kumbaga, we are peaking form wise. I hope it's not too early. I hope it's just at the right amount. Kasi Roma do have the ability to bounce back and beat us on their home turf. But then again, we haven't lost away from home in a while, no. So there's really that consistency that really began from the time that we started winning the away games, and then yung sa Old Trafford form pa ngayon yung kailangan umabol, di ba? So yeah, I think we're pretty much in the final. What I do think would be our main risks would be, like, for example, we have Liverpool coming up tomorrow. The main risk would have to deal with keeping Rashford healthy. We know it's like walking on eggshells all the time whenever Rashford plays. Parang he's always playing with that niggle. But then there's also the resurgence, of course. Itong si Cavani, it's changed everything. Ano siya? Para siyang si Zlatan na mas bata, na mas mabilis. And he is able to make other players around him better also. Ang tinamaan si Pogba, tsaka si Bruno. So those three have created magic. I think for the second leg, we can give sila Van de Beek, some of the younger guys. Si Mason maybe could get a start for the second leg for that particular leg. But then as long as you have yung double pivot sa likod, si Fred and McTominay, I think we're not gonna concede any goals. If at all, maybe one or two, pero we will outscore them still, and I think we can still come away with the result there. So, no.
Good stuff, Charles. Ikaw, Paolo. In that game in particular, do you have any favorite moment that really stood out for you during that game? I have my own favorite moment, but I wanna know yours.
Well, in terms of favorite moments, I mean, it's I guess it's just basically picking your favorite goal, diba? Kasi there are just so many to choose from. I think that Cavani finish, that was basically a rocket sa top corner
Right.
of the feed from, I think it was Bruno. I thought that was just pretty, very technical, very skilled, and I think that's just something that Manchester United has lacked in the past. We didn't have I guess, someone who you would consider to be a pure center forward that is of that caliber and that quality. And I really enjoy watching Cavani play. I mean, like, looking at the entire game, though, I think it's a good reminder that Manchester United play basically two it's a tale of two halves. That old saying is very true. If you're a Manchester United fan, we know it from yung history natin, and we've seen it against Roma. And when you look at how Oli has been playing this team in general, I think that it's always a constant reminder yate, that we have that in the DNA of the club, and I think that's what made it fun to watch. But on that note, I think that alam ko, a lot of fans are saying that done and dusted na yung semi-final tayo na to. And, we should be thinking about Gdansk. But we've seen comebacks before, we've seen stranger ones. And if we don't come up with, I think, a competent lineup to at least try and keep a clean sheet, or at least nick the game or steal it, we might be in trouble. We got to respect Roma. They're there for a reason. They're at our level for a reason at the moment. So, yeah, nothing finished yet. Ask any coach, they'll tell you that they have to wait until the final whistle to actually celebrate anything.
Absolutely. And then we have that semifinal curse still. No, it's just one leg, but we haven't really gotten past that semifinal ever since Oli took over. Yeah. Question over to you, Jason. So I asked Paul about a favorite moment, and it's most likely the offense, right? As he said, it's a Cavani moment. What do you think about the defense? We've seen Maguire and Lindelof just go levels up when Dino was in goal, and now that De Gea is our cup keeper, how do you think should Ole approach this? Like, should he stick with his cup keeper, or do we still go with Dino and just make sure it's in the bag?
First of all, I think it's so strange to say De Gea as a cup keeper, right? It's like it's one of those
Actually, yeah,
sentences. It's one of those sentences that don't make sense, but they do. I think Ole is gonna stick with De Gea for the second leg, and I think he might do his semifinal thing where he puts Dino as the first choice keeper for the final. I mean, knock on wood, we get to the final. However, I actually think tomorrow's game is gonna play a big role in the team selection for the second leg. Again, knock on wood, round two. Hopefully, nobody gets injured tomorrow. That's going to be very big. If we can keep the bulk of the squad healthy, especially that back line. That back line is settled. I'd like to think they're very, very settled at this point. I think our wing backs are pretty okay, even for a push next season. I think that's your finals back four. It's a De Gea or Dino thing. I would say De Gea second leg, Dino probably for finals. I just feel like Lindelof and Maguire, they look a bit more settled. They look a bit more okay, calm when it's Dino behind them. I'm not sure how did that happen, but I guess De Gea's dip in form has a role in it. Dino's ascendancy as well has a role in it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow, I think, and then that will play a big role for leg two. Oh, just to quickly add, I
Mm,
have this weird thing that I want to happen on the second leg. I
mm.
actually want Roma to score first, like one goal. I want them to do that. You know what I mean, right? Get them
Maybe
Yeah,
that
off
yeah,
might
yeah.
para
I get you,
magising.
man.
because that lights this crazy fire in our team. They'll probably smash another five in the second half if that happens.
I've said that in another podcast. Like we have to let them score first, and then we'll be
Yeah,
okay. Because if they don't score first, it usually ends up a nil-nil draw, which is
I
like
know.
drops
Like
point for us,
Leeds.
right? So, yeah, I mean the least that's done and dusted. Like Bielsa is another level, so that's for next year, man. So, I mean, I guess why Maguire and Lindelof perform way better with Dino is just because he comes off the line very quickly, and they don't have to compensate in terms of because they just push up the pitch so high, and if it's De Gea as their keeper, they have to track back, and they're
Yeah,
not fast.
that's
They're
right.
really not fast, right? But when Dino's back there, they don't have to track back as fast because Dino can take care of those through balls, So that's my take on it. And given that, it seems like if we have Dino in goal, center back is not kumbaga, it's not a priority in terms of
Mm.
transfers or whatnot. Depth, yes, and maybe a left-footed one. And then we have rumors circulating that Cavani's extending. So that means two things. One, good for Greenwood. Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, they get a one more year with a true striker.
Yeah.
Secondly, you kind of know what their transfer priority is. Like, it's not a center forward. It's not a number nine. But I wanna know your thoughts on that. Like, would you like Cavani to extend, or would you like even if Cavani extends, we get one more center forward? Gary, what's your take on that?
Seriously? No, I don't want him to extend. No, just joking. Yes, he should. For at least a year. I mean, I'll just I'll pick one area lang. The highlight of for me the impact that Edinson Cavani has made on the team is his relationship with Mason Greenwood. I'll just leave it at that. This the kid has improved leaps and bounds, especially in the last couple of games. And what happens in the training session. And apparently, Eddie doesn't just do it to Mason, but he also does it to his other teammates. So yung effect na yun of having that type of a player with that type of experience and that type of skill. I mean, center forwards like that are very rare at that level with that type of movement with that type of anticipation. So for me, I just want to highlight the impact he's made specifically on Mason.
Definitely. Ang concern ko lang, like if Mason's your number nine, and we know that Rashford and Martial are not natural number nines. Does anyone disagree with me? It's okay if you disagree. They're like converted wingers, right? Um, so what's your depth like? Right, like that. What's your depth like in terms of your number nine? So you have Cavani who can't play 3 games in a week. You have Greenwood who's too young to just play every game. Gab, what do you think our strike force would be like come next year?
Hmm. Well, if I think about it, of course, Rash actually, one of the things that I've been looking at in terms of our lineups is I think Pogba is really reigniting his form down the left. But the conflict is that's also Rashford's best position. No? So if I will take what do you call this? It will if I will take it if I see the depth chart next year. Of course, Rashi will be on the left. Um, what do you call this? Eddie will be on center forward. Martial from the bench. Greenwood on right flank, and I think we need someone else. I think Daniel James is also most effective on the left, to be honest. So if I would plug in a right winger, not Sancho levels, especially because transfer kitty fund is not as much as this year. So someone that we can pick up na alam mo yun, maybe Premier League or Championship. Yeah, I would still hold on to Martial. I think this year has been really just very I'd say it's not himself. He's really not himself for some reason, one way on or physical or mental. But yeah, I guess one thing I would really look closely is what Oli decides with Pogba. I mean, of course, granted that he signs a contract, but how he plans to use Pogba if we get a true center midfield, no, a destroyer, then he goes back to that double pivot. But yeah, he's really been looking good on that left flank or left advanced midfield role. So just watching out for that and how it affects Rashford's his plans for Rashford moving forward.
Can
That's
sorry, I just want to add something.
go
Like
go.
if,
Yeah,
if you're
go ahead.
looking at center forwards, kasi, and obviously we're looking at Cavani, like okay, we're going to extend him, and all of that. You have. I'm just going to look at the Premier League numbers here. Okay, so Premier League wise, goals scored we're actually not bad. We're actually up there in terms of goals scored. You have to figure out where this Manchester United team gets their goals. It's not from the center forwards. It's because they cut in. It's because they get it from the midfield. It's because we flood the box and with whoever and whenever as quickly as you can. So, for example, if you get a guy like if you look for another center forward, you're also effectively you're not adding on to goals necessarily at once. You're probably taking goals away from Bruno. You're probably taking goals away from Sina Mason because of where the goals you're going to try and attack offensively. So I think the balance of when you're thinking about kung sinong center forward natin kuha or what other position you want to strengthen first in terms of being more effective offensively, I think that adds a different layer to it. So as much as I want Cavani there, and I think he should stay there, I think the next step is okay. So if we have our center forward in him, who else do we add on to make it a more dynamic force moving forward? Because we're past the days na yung forward lang yung nagsiscore. Everyone else is scoring everywhere else.
Exactly. The thing is, even so, we've been getting goals from everywhere, right? Even Luke Shaw, McTominay.
My favorite left back of all time right now, talking about Luke Shaw.
Everyone.
Easy. It used to be Leighton Baines, as in unbiased. Leighton Baines was my favorite. And Maldini if he shifts to the side, but then Luke Shaw is he's quiet. Look, he's stocky. He's not athletic, but he does everything right.
If I would describe him, he's like deceptively fast. Like you don't know he's fast, but he's freaking fast.
Apparently on the website, 6-footer din siya. So he's tall.
So the thing is, we have these goals coming from everywhere, and the thing is, we still struggle on the low blocks, and that's where Cavani comes in, like his runs in between the lines. And as Gab mentioned, Paul was strong on the left, Rashford strong on the left, Martial is strong on the left, and then we put in Greenwood as an auxiliary right winger. So for you, Charles, like for next year, how do we fix that? Do we get a winger or do we get a base in midfield so that we can plug in someone else? Just a temporary plug on the right wing.
Yeah. You know who would be the best temporary plug for the club right now? His name is Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay?
I knew it.
Right wing, Charles, right wing.
Fixes a lot of problems.
That solves all
for a lot
our
of people.
issues.
Diba? So ngayon parang it's coming home, no? And that's where he grew up. That's where he got his first Ballon d'Or and everything, right? So same effect as, for example, Cavani has had on the younger guys, particularly and sila Bruno, sila Pogba. They need somebody that can push them around, more or less. Kind of like how everybody looked up to Zlatan during his brief stint in United, and how you can see Sinabayi and some of the yung makukulit pero like even Pogba, you could see that big ego bow down pa rin siya kay Zlatan. So talking about egos, bring on board CR7. That fixes a lot of things because the work ethic will change across the board, and then your young stars will really get a chance to shine right next to one of the best in the world, if not the
Oh
best in
yeah.
the world. Diba? So, kumbaga, the synergy is endless. Although, I do hope we get center back that can, kasi like we're gonna extend Bayi, right? I love the guy Bayi when he's playing well. He's very formidable, and he is the athletic alternative to Lindelof, right? So kumbaga, I agree with that. Jason was saying earlier that it is a settled pair between Maguire and Lindelof. But then if you take a look at especially the second goal, yung kay Zeko against us, Roma, it was lack of pace. Kumbaga, it was simply because both center backs lacked that half step of pace, kaya nalusutan tayo ng ganon. So, Bayi, in the meantime, he's like a bigger, stronger Wan-Bissaka when he's playing on his best game. So, okay tayo with Bayi, except yun nga, he may spend time again on the medicine the treatment table. So, yeah, it's a lot of things. But then really, if we have cash to splash, go big, go now for Cristiano, because this could be the last time we have the chance to get him back.
We might even get him for free if he just wants it that bad, you know. So,
Can I just say something?
God.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, but there have been reports that, and this is coming from multiple sources, media sources, that Cristiano has already spoken to George Mendes about possibly facilitating a move somewhere. Real Madrid has said no. PSG has said no. So, sino na lang kaya ang natitira for Cristiano to possibly facilitate a transfer? I mean, immediately he solves everything up top. No issues, and he takes care of his body. He's a freak. Okay? He's probably one of the most, probably siguro next to yung ganong klaseng mindset. There are only a few athletes that have that kind of mentality na parang focused ka. I probably off the top, siguro dalawa, probably off the top of my head. Michael Jordan is one, Tiger Woods is another one. So, yung ganong mentality na madadala niya, even for just a season, it's a hot take, but, who knows? Because Cristiano has also mentioned that he would like to go back and retire sa Sporting. So, it's either Sporting Lisbon or tayo. And I hope they consider that. But if we don't, an alternative would be Rafinha from Leeds United. So, he can play on the right and he can play on the left, and he has this relationship with Bruno as well. So ako yun, that's one thing I'd like to put out there.
Where would you play
Cap,
him?
will you-
Sorry, Gary. Where would
sorry,
you play
go.
him?
Si Rafinha,
No,
No,
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Predominantly, where would you play him?
I would play him similar to his role in 07-08 na he's more of free siya sa attack. Pwede siyang umikot. He goes around. In the same ni Rooney and ni Tevez, the way they would partner silang tatlo, I would put him in that role. And although if you start Marcos there on the left with him, ang magiging role niya probably right to right center. Pero I would see Cristiano basically having a free role in the side.
Okay, fair.
Ikaw,
Cap,
Pao,
if it
what do you
costs
think?
us Pogba, will you let it happen? If it costs
Sorry.
us Pogba,
If it costs Pogba, man, I don't know. Kasi I'm a big fan of Pogba.
Juventus wants it back, right?
Yeah, but think about it this way. Right now, if you can extend, if Pogba does stay, and if Pogba stays longer, will we have longer success with him rather than a couple of years of Cristiano? Because he's not going to last much longer, I'm assuming, based on age. So I guess you're playing the time game. And I don't think there's a right answer here because if you pick Pogba or Ronaldo, really, they're two world class players. I personally think that I love Bruno, but I personally think that talent wise, I think Pogba's are still our most talented player. Has the potential to be world class. Potential. I'm not saying he is world class every week, right? I think we're all in agreement of that. Pero if you say that okay, Ronaldo coming in for Pogba and you have a good Ronaldo for like 2 or 3 years, okay. But then if you can keep Pogba and you have him for 4 or 5 or maybe even longer, and you can have him at world class level for longer time, I'm not mad at that either. So either or.
But in a vacuum, Paolo, in a vacuum, would you want Cristiano to be back?
I gonna back, yeah, Cristiano back for sure. And I think I'm not saying that he's going to repay all of the fees that we're going to spend on him in terms of shirt sales. I think he would come sort of close, or at least pay back a percentage of it, right? But I want him back. I've been pining for it every year that he's had a rumor from Real Madrid. The rumor from every time that he's like, oh, he's not happy in Real Madrid. He wants to go back to Manchester United. Every year, I'm like, please, God, please. Pero hindi naman nangyayari. Now he's in Juventus. My God. But hey, you never know. This won't be the first time a former United player came from Juventus going back to United. So let's see what happens.
Great insights, guys. Jason, ikaw, if you were to pick one guy to come in next year and say, hey, we're competing on all three fronts because of this one guy, who would you pick? Jason.
Sorry, who are you asking? Jason.
Ako ba?
Jason, yeah.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. I don't think there's a United fan out there who's gonna say no to a coming home party for Cristiano. I think that's a given.
True.
Actually, on top of United and Sporting, I actually think there is a chance he might entertain either the French league or MLS. There's a chance, but I would say we have a good chance as well. So I would pick him in a heartbeat. If Cavani confirmed, right? That, or is the news confirmed that he's renewing?
Reported
No
lang.
statement yet.
Reports.
Reported lang. Yeah.
It's a social media blackout.
Oh yeah, that's right. So you know what? I think the best case scenario is we get Cavani to extend. I think he's another player where just from that result, the 6-2, I think he cemented his place in the hearts of so many fans. Whereby if we renew him next year, whether he plays 10 games or 30, okay lang. He's like a good guy to be in the squad. Ronaldo comes back, and then we get one really nice Marquez signing, and Pogba stays. For me, those four things. If we check all of those four boxes, there's so many things to be happy about next year.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, my fear lang with Cavani is that it reminds me of this is a very 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 poor reference or comparison rather, but it reminds me of when Michael Owen joined. He had that one really great first year, as in like he was good. People forget that he was really good that first year, and then we extended him and kept on extending him. And because of the fact that we brought in more strike talent, di natin nagamit. And he just ended up eating space. And the number 7 shirt. So it feels like that. I hope it doesn't come to that. I think Cavani's a lot better, at least where he is right now, compared to where Owen was. But I think my fear then is that if we do extend Cavani, is there a chance that if we get in a high-profile reinforcement that actually takes up his minutes, he actually eats up more space in comparison? And if you have unhappy Cavani, will that be detrimental in the training camp instead?
Yeah, I wasn't too miffed with Owens getting extended just because one, we pissed off Liverpool, right? And secondly, that freaking City Derby winner, you know.
Oh yeah,
I was watching that game live.
Hero. I have an Owen shirt.
Wow. I'm not that big of a fan, but I respect him because of that. But you know, just because of that City derby, we're like, okay, you're forgiven for being a Liverpool player.
Hindi ko na
Anyway.
forgive for being Liverpool.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You beat City like that, you're okay. But
Yeah, like
that's for
Fergie
me. That's
time,
for me.
man. All right, before we move on to the next section, I want to just say hi to some of our viewers in the live chat on Facebook. We're also on YouTube, by the way. Let's see, we have Roy Molina, we have our resident angry man Kevin, we have Carl. Yeah, he's always angry man. We have Bruce, we have Julius, then we have some other. Well, we have YouTube viewers as well. Yeah, this is like for the first episode on YouTube because we paid for StreamYard.
Yan. So,
Kasi dati
ganun
po eh.
talaga.
So
And
free na. So ngayon, binayaran
we want to
namin,
encourage
20 na.
everybody, please like the video, comment, subscribe, for
Yep.
everything Man United in the Philippines. This is the place to be. So,
And
I
we have
also want to
viewers from
thank all the
Qatar, man.
panelists tonight for coming in on short notice. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
this impromptu
All
episode.
over. All over. Thank you so much.
Ramsden from Qatar. Sup, man? Nice to meet you. G, our number one fan of Stereo. And then, hey Charles, you have a friend. Anak ni Coach Hans, huh? Yeah, Ian.
Oh,
That guy's a City fan. That guy's a City,
City
fan.
fan? What?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's here to
magsama sila
phone me.
Nate, no, Jason. Nathan is here as well. Manuel. And then who else? I'm just going through the comments. Lawrence. I think we got everyone. Oh, Tokayo. Yep. Tokayo's here. All right. So I guess we got everyone. So good insights, guys, so far.
Yep.
I think we're all in agreement that we want Ronaldo in an ideal world. Cavani to mentor our strike force. But then again, we don't really know how it works out with their transfer policies. Like Woodward's out, but the Glazers still own it, so we don't know. So yeah, let's move on to the next game, the big one, the Northwest Derby,
Eto na.
Liverpool. I'm not too scared. They're posers for a year. They've been trying to play with that style for 3 years now, and they've been basically found out. And good riddance for them, right? We're gonna try out something here because sayang naman yung ginawa ni Gary, our resident analyst. So let me try that.
While
Okay.
Jeff's trying to pull that up, ayan, while Jeff's trying to pull that up, and so basically we're gonna see a tactical breakdown. Pero while we're in the process of doing that, I'm gonna throw out some random stats at you guys. Medyo nakakatawa siya actually. And this kind that dispels the notion that all the Liverpool supporters are saying that, oh, we're a possession-based team. Oh, we put it on the floor and we pass it around like Barcelona. Liverpool is first in the EPL in long balls this season with 4,040. And get this, it's 400 more than Burnley. If you have
Wow.
400 more long balls than Burnley, who played that style, di ba? Parang mahiya naman kayo. It's like, why, di ba? Kasi yun nga, to Jeff's point earlier, they've been basically found out. That
Yeah.
style, that quote-unquote heavy metal football. Okay, so let's talk
Sige.
about heavy metal football. Sige. So, sige, let's pull up the first slide. So,
Nag-iba na ba? Sige.
thanks to, hindi mabasa eh. So,
Ay, hindi mo mabasa?
sige,
Naku.
may most likely hindi to makikita ng
Present,
Pero
present.
sige, I'll
present, yeah.
How does that go?
oo.
Ayan, okay ba yan?
So, yan.
Yes.
So off the top, going into this game, we've just lost one of our last 15 home games against Liverpool in all competitions. So Liverpool hasn't lost to us in all competitions since 14 and 16 season. We've won just one of our last 9 meetings. So this is kind of one of the few hoodoos that we have in the league. And I really want us to win, apart from the fact that we get to stick it. I have a lot of coworkers that are Liverpool supporters. So I just want to stick it to them the following day. So anyway, so ito yung medyo, the first bullet that you see, we've drawn 7 league games. nil-nil this season. Imagine all the drawn games. If we converted all of those on top of the Sheffield United result, things would probably be a
Top of the
lot
league,
closer.
man. Top of the
And
league.
everybody would agree. Pero yun nga, the second one is one of our strongest traits. We've won 28 points from losing positions. Liverpool have dropped 15 points from winning positions this season. And then Liverpool have won 5 of their last 7 away league games. So what does this all pertain to, di ba? So kitignan nyo
They have
naman
to
yung
score,
team
they have to score
news.
first.
Ayan.
They have to score first. Tapos habol tayo. Yun yung ibig sabihin.
Sige, sige. Sure, sure. Ayan. So, yan. Titignan nyo, ER na ER yung injury news ng Liverpool, and it's been a very convenient excuse for them this season, as if parang wala tayong injury, no? So tingnan yung United injury news natin. We have Anthony Martial is still out with a knee issue, and
Phil Jones.
I
Phil Jones.
forgot Phil Jones is still on this team. Okay, so he's out
3 years.
with a knee issue. Sorry pero naglalaban na sila ni Bay, if you're gonna ask me. So anyway, ayun. So yan. So konting comedy naman. So next, yan. So the first thing I'd like to point out, is it really all injuries? If you're going to ask me kasi, a lot of teams have started playing low blocks And they've sort of been found out. They've allowed Liverpool a lot of possession, and in fact, kung titignan nyo yan sa graphic na yan, that's us playing them this season nung una in January. And if you look at the positioning, we're not really going to give them any space. And I expect pretty much the same. Although right now, Liverpool is I think at 62.6%. I think they have the highest possession rate in the EPL. They had to shift to that style because basically they couldn't get past that kasi they need the fuel para sa press nila, so they can counter attack. So yun. Ayan. So with their front three, they basically also been found out. If there's one player that's going to be a danger person for this game, it's going to be Mo Salah. He has that wicked left foot that he uses to cut inside. And for me, if you're going to ask me, he's probably the only player that has not regressed from last season. So Luke Shaw needs to not switch off this entire game. Kasi not once, even that instance with Roma na he played everybody on side, no, we will get punished if he does that against Liverpool. Yari
If
tayo.
he's playing
Kasi
against Liverpool.
yun. So,
Oo nga.
Luke Shaw?
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know. You rotate your squads, bro.
Maybe rotate
Well,
For sure he plays.
next week.
Right?
Let's
I mean,
see.
like I wouldn't say na sure see show. That's all I'm saying. But I understand your point, Gary. Sorry, go ahead.
We'll get your
Yeah.
11s
No,
later.
it's
Don't worry. Yeah.
oh, it's okay. So si Firmino, obviously yung false nine role niya has also been found out because essentially what's been happening is a midfielder comes in to mark him, which allows the central defenders to mark Salah and Sadio Mane. So it's made them a lot more predictable in attack. And ang medyo na head scratching dito is Jurgen Klopp's insistence to play the same style kahit na injure si Virgil van Dijk. That was a really big blow for them because Van Dijk's presence there allows them to move the ball through the thirds. Now, nung nawala siya, they tried replicating it. They tried to put Fabinho there. They tried to put Kabak. This other guy, si Phillips, who's also now injured as well. So, wala talaga silang continuity doon. So, that style kind of gets stopped by a lot of teams. And if you look at that particular graphic, this is Burnley when they lost to Burnley. So Firmino or Divock Origi get marked by midfielders, and this allows the defenders to actually focus their attention on both Salah and Sadio Mane. So ayan ulit, that's another instance. So nakikita nyo, nakapaligid agad kay Salah. So I would rather have Mo Salah in a position where he's dribbling but there are 4 people surrounding him. Now in this case, yung game natin sa kanila, you had Paul Pogba marking Firmino specifically, which allowed makikita nyo dun sa upper left, which allowed Salah to be marked by the other defenders. So, okay lang yun. We will be able, if we're able to hurt them in that sense, we have a very good chance of winning this game. And so these are screenshots. By the way, credit to Sky for that. And because they adopt a possession based game, yun nga, they're the highest in the EPL this season at 62.6%. This allows their fullbacks, si Andy Robertson, tsaka si the so-called best right back in the league, to push forward. Okay, and sorry, I just had to put that in kasi he's been drinking too much of his Kool-Aid. So it allows because of the possession, they dominate possession. Ang nangyayari, the fullbacks become auxiliary wingers. So umaangat sila, and that allows Salah and Mane to actually do their thing. And what Firmino does now is he drops back into a really deep role, almost like another midfielder. Siya yung nagiging decoy for the other teams, and we have to be wary of that. So again, the crucial matchup here, for me, is going to be our left back, whether it's Luke Shaw or Alex Telles or whoever, versus Mo Salah. And then another matchup that I'm probably looking at is going to be Paul Pogba versus Trent Alexander-Arnold. In the sense that Pogba will often find himself in that left side, and Trent often obviously goes to that space when they start pushing up. If we stop them in terms of in terms of getting, if they try to push up, if they really try to go after us, they're gonna get hit on the counter. I really think na especially now na they just confirmed that guy Phillips, I forgot his first name, is injured.
Nathan.
So ang mangyayari niyan, ayun, thanks. Fabinho and baka si Fabinho tsaka si Kabak na naman yung mag-start. So that is something that we will look to exploit. McFred's gonna play a big role here. In trying to recycle possession and try to maintain hold of the middle of the park against guys like Milner, Wijnaldum, and probably kalimutan ko sino yung isa eh. But those guys for Liverpool. Yeah, si Thiago, yun. And Diogo Jota just got back. So, yun. In a nutshell, yun. That's how I would see it playing out.
So given the analysis that Gary did, sige, just jump in, guys. Given the analysis that Gary did, do you think this matters in a Northwest Derby? Like derbies, like stats out of the window sometimes, like Ateneo LaSalle, Merseyside derbies, even the London derbies. Like Arsenal can get one over Chelsea nowadays, and even Everton. That's the reason why Van Dijk was out. So credit to them, right? But does this analysis or statistical tendencies that we see, do they matter in such a match, particularly this Sunday, with the form that we're in and the form the form that they're in?
Hopefully, we got the FA Cup, the same match that we had in FA Cup, wherein both teams were attack minded. Like the game in EPL, in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, if I can use the term, chalk and cheese. No mga pundits in abroad. It was really chalk and cheese. Like sobrang defensively, there were no space in the first game. The second game is like parang people just said, okay, stop defending, let's go ahead and attack, right? So hopefully, right, if it's the second game wherein people are, for Liverpool for sure, right, they will be more aggressive because they need this match more than us for sure. Kasi inahabol na yung top 4, eh. So definitely they will be more aggressive, more attacking. If Oli chooses to go, fight with their attacking prowess, likely we get the FA Cup. And to be honest with you, I think given the form we are in, I do later na pala yung lineups, no? But with the form we are in, I feel we're gonna outscore them if they will allow. If Klopp magically thinks na, no, I'm okay, I'll be conservative, then it might be the 0-0. But hopefully it's really the former, like that FA Cup. And we should come out on top.
Any from the other panelists, Jason, Charles, Paulo?
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna agree with Gab.
go ahead, Jason.
Sorry, you wanna go ahead?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'm gonna agree with Gab. I am looking at the table, right, and Liverpool is 4 points behind Chelsea. Realistically, Chelsea's not looking like they're gonna drop a lot of points in their few remaining games left. So Klopp's gonna have to tell his team, you're gonna go there tomorrow, and you're gonna try and just get something out of United. But the thing is, if he does that, it plays into all the strengths that the team currently has. And I don't want to be overconfident, but after the high that the boys got from Roma, there's a chance that tomorrow is going to be another very special night for United fans.
Hopefully. Charles,
High
Hopefully,
how
hopefully.
about you?
expectations, high expectations, Jason.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
agree
worth
with you.
staying up for, man.
I agree with you, Jason. No, kasi looking at the table too, we're 13 points above Liverpool. At the same time, we have somebody snapping at our heels, right? So I'm looking at the next few games. We have Liverpool, Roma, Aston Villa, and Leicester. So yeah, squad rotation. Tama yung sinabi ni Paolo kanina. It may be worth looking at not fielding a fully strong lineup for this coming game because we need to keep our players fresh. I'm thinking maybe we can give Rashford well-deserved rest and save him for when we really need him. No, maybe against the tougher games. But then makakahabol pa siguro si Liverpool sa top 4 pero tayo we are at a higher risk of kampante because nga of the 13-point gap and that the fact that according to the numbers maaring ano na tayo sure na tayo for Champions League position no dun sa top 4 but then the boys can't be thinking in that direction. They still have to go for it and strangely enough yun nga the numbers show that Liverpool has to score first and then we have to come from behind and then beat them in the second half. So that's how our season has been going. Hopefully we can keep it to a calm 2-0. Okay na no basta ano wag na tayo
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Paolo.
Yeah, just a reminder, guys. So everyone's talking about how important this is for Liverpool, which is true. They need to beat us. They need 3 points from us to be able to keep yung European dreams alive. But just a reminder that if we secure 3 more points, we guarantee Champions League football for next year. So it's also a big deal for us in the sense that I'm not saying that we're not going to make it if we don't win this one. I'm just saying that it's better to get that done and dusted. Kasi realistically speaking, if we're not talking about the title at this point, the most that we can get out of the season's Champions League football, and the rest of this could be done for after this one. This game, should we get the 3 points, could be used for development for all the other players. You can see more of Ahmad. You can see more of whoever else that you want to see there. I personally want to see some for younger ones. Yeah, absolutely. So looking at this team, this game though, I think we're looking at how certain players will perform and how they're going to go against Liverpool. I am more curious to see how Oli will shuffle his pack because yun nga, we're going to look at the I guess the load management, to borrow a basketball term, unfortunately, the load management of this team moving forward, because you have a very old Cavani, you have a Marcus Rashford whose bones are breaking here and there, microfracturing, by the way, so that's even worse. And then you have young Mason Greenwood who can't lead the line yet, and if we're going to expect him to come in for Cavani, you don't know what's going to happen. I will say that as much as I'd like to say that everyone thinks that Liverpool is found out, I don't want to be that team where all of a sudden yung mga ginagawa nila dati suddenly works again. Because we've seen they've won a Premier League out of it, unfortunately. And that doesn't mean that it can't work on a one-off against us. So we cannot take it easy. But then I think the desire for them to win is is higher than ours, simply because of yung need nila. They will attack more. This is not going to be a draw, most likely. It's not going to be a 0-0. They're going to attack more. There's going to leave a lot of space there. I don't think this is the right game for Cavani because Cavani is not the quickest guy. I think we're going to see Mason Greenwood. I wouldn't be surprised if Ahmad gets a runoff, actually, because he is a really, really, really quick guy. Mason Green, Marcus Rashford probably will have a cameo, and then if he gets tackled once, he's out. And I don't know. Honestly, I'm not. I'm really curious to see how Ollie will manage the lineup. That's what I think is going to be the biggest factor in this particular game.
That's the perfect segue to my question I want to throw to the panel. Um, there's always been that, kumbaga, yung inis ba na the Oli doesn't rotate too much, doesn't rotate much, and then during the games, the subs are inconsistent. It's either he gets it so right or he gets it so late. So the question I have for the panel is, what do you think is the issue? Is it Oli not trusting the bench, or Oli trusting the starting 11 too much? Like he trusts that 11 can turn it around one way or another. As we've seen with second half FC, they're capable of that. But which is which? Is it not trusting their bench, or is it trusting the 11 too much?
I want to answer this.
Sige,
If I
Gab.
can. Yeah. Yeah. So I think parang there was a good athletic um, article kasi with regards to how Ole manages and how Pep manages. So Pep manages with a system, and he instills a system similar to Klopp, then finds the right people around it. United has always been parang we're bannered as the people with the individual talents really that has that magical moments. Then that's it. I feel that that's where it comes from, right? You cannot have another Bruno from the bench, no Pogba from the bench, even Luke Shaw, right? Teles is a totally different player. Crosses versus the overlapping runs, I'd say. So I don't think it's more of the sorry, I would then say na it's more of the type of style that works the best and has produced the best results for United has come from the stars, right? The best, our best player in Bruno, goal scoring pa rin si Rashford and Pogba. And when even if we have good players like Donny, Teles, to replace them, because of our style na parang very, hindi ba individualistic, but the best players produce those kinds of, yung short passing, tapos kaagad run, right? That's so hard to replicate with different kinds of personalities. I think that's also why Donny hasn't had a lot of chance yet, right? He plays short passes, more safe passes, whereas Bruno is like, di ko pa nakikita na may tumatakbo. I'll cross it already. So I think that's where it comes from. So again, Oli trusting the 11 because of the type of play that they do and the results.
Thing is, sometimes that 11 doesn't work for some games, and that's the magic of Sir Alex. Ang galing yung humugot, di ba? Kasi yung hugot niya, like tipong the best hugot that I've seen from the Alex years, the most recent one is of course our Makeda. That Makeda hugot, like who the heck, and then boom, right? So Ole being a sub himself, right? He's a sub from his playing days, and yet he doesn't trust his sub. So that's what what grinds my gears basically. Anyone else who wants to chime in?
Well, I think sa subs, if you're gonna talk about, we can't really compare Oli to Sir Alex because at that time it felt like if they had a replacement for everything and everyone in almost the same mold. I'm not saying exactly. I mean, like I remember there was a time where you had Scholes come off the bench for Carrick or Carrick for Scholes, and
No drop off.
That's incredible playmaking. And then the only real drop off siguro was that time it was Scholes and Carrick playing together, and then Carrick was replacing Keane. And
Anderson pa.
yeah, but Anderson was really, people forget he was really good, and Tom Cleverley. Both of them played really quick, short passes, and it was amazing actually.
Anderson, pero magaling yun.
Yeah, dude, Cristiano Ronaldo had Nani coming off the bench when he started out. You had Park Ji Sung, and then you had
That was
He had
insane
parties.
back then.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah, then Valencia when he came on also. I mean, like in terms of depth, I think United had it in spades back then, and now in terms of the subs, I think what Oli does is that okay, I think this certain way of playing will work for this team, but then the thing is because the players are also different. Look, for example, sabihin natin Daniel James. Daniel James. I love him as a player because I think he has a potential to be a great player in the future. But then I don't think you can say that he is like any of the guys that we have now. I think the closest like for like we have is Martial and
Rashford.
Rashford. That's it.
Rashford.
Literally, that might be it. Like I wouldn't say Pogba and Fernandez are the same. I'd say maybe Van de Beek and maybe Pogba, but hindi rin eh. You
Hindi.
can't have a like for
Parang
like
wala
sub.
mo na.
So if Oli comes up with a strategy and it doesn't work, he can't patch it quickly. So I have a feeling that's one of the reasons why if it doesn't work in the first half, you're in trouble and they have to change everything in the second.
Maybe it's the Norwegian pragmatism, no? Na parang very conservative. That's,
Yeah.
baka, kasi Alex, kahit hindi mo kilala, Makeda, pasok, pak.
Mm.
He wasn't a like for like also. Parang he's a youth player. And then,
Yeah. Sorry,
Hinugot
Jason.
lang
Jason mentioned Matic and Scott McTominay, but then I'd say that Maxos is probably a harder tackler, and Matic is he's more of the guy who conserves possession rather than does all the
He's
does all the
magnetic to the
tackling.
ball until now.
Yeah.
He's just too slow.
Yeah,
Freaking
well,
slow.
I guess yeah. So I know even they're different, right? So I'm just saying you can't sustain a level of play.
Charles, Jason, how about you
Yeah,
guys?
I was gonna say in relation to Matic, you bring him on board, you bring him off the bench. You have your standard bag of cement there in the middle of midfield. It's his job to make sure nothing gets through, and as soon as he gets around to where the ball is, siguro in the next 5 to 10 seconds, it's likely that he can recover the ball, right? Except by the time he gets there, it's either the ball's not there anymore, or I agree with Jeff. It's really a pace issue with Matic, and it's interesting though kasi he came on when the game was already kumaga 5-2 na at that point, right? So dun mo makikita na si Oli when the coach, no? the gaffer, when he makes those subs, parang it's to give Rashford a rest, or in this, I'm just talking about this Roma game. So what's interesting was we were behind 2-1. And no subs were made. He decided to stick with the same 11. Now, if for me, that's because si Martial is injured. Okay? Kasi kung si Martial had started that game, and then normally he
goes
would be
off.
the guy who gets hooked at half time. Okay, and then Cavani comes in and changes the game. But then you know what?
Wala yung presidente dito.
Wala dito no? Pero he's right. I mean, Cavani, when healthy, Cavani really changes everything. That's why Ole got it right when he did not change the 11 because mainit na yung Cavani, and then you could see the hat trick was almost there. Yung yung meron siyang yung back heel, and then meron siyang yung parang isi-scissor kick niya. Parang this guy is like on his best day, one of the best strikers right now, and he just extended with that. So thankfully, si Cavani, as long as everybody stays healthy, si Bayi, si Cavani, I think our depth is okay. Maybe we have room for a CDM. I agree with Cap. We do need a solid CDM. Kasi si Maxos and Fred, sila yung the utility guys, no? They're the guys that are gonna do the running for you. Domine is the one that's gonna do the crunching tackles. He's 6'4", he's a machine, right? So, pero there's nothing else like him. What I'm trying to say is we need just one solid defensive midfielder along the lines of maybe Kante. Too much to ask, somebody else, no? If you just want like one guy that you can rely on, and then everybody else can just come in, like Fred or even Matic can come in for this one guy. I think yun na lang yung kulang kasi kompleto na tayo sa taas, kompleto na sa baba.
All right, I want to go to Jason first before we go back to Gary.
No, same
How about
thoughts. Same thoughts. Uh, Another thing that I would like to also add is maybe Ole is still looking for his style. We can't forget then that he hasn't been at the job very long. So more than half of the players are inherited players, right? These were built along one system. He's added players here and there. I think the Ole ball counter attacking is too much of a cliche to a certain point. But it works. But I don't think that's the identity. I don't think that's the finished product. So we'll see. I think we'll see with 1 to 2 more, maybe 2 to 3 transfers, the kinds of players that Ole gets in. Hopefully, mga unknown players. Like how Sir Alex used to do it. Unknown players, put them in the team, and then whoa, what the heck happened to the team? It just levels up like crazy. So I think we wait for 2 to 3 transfers to see what the identity is. I do agree where a lot of the guys also said where there's no system where you slot in a person and it just works. It completely changes. Like if Dan James or Mason goes in, we're going for like pace. We're going
Pressing.
for
Iba, iba,
yeah,
iba.
we're gonna go for like chase the ball, boy, and then put it in the box. If you put Cavani in, we're gonna play a hold up style. If you put Bailly in, we want some party at the back. If you put Bailly in, so yeah, there's no consistent Ole thing yet. I think.
Yeah.
See,
Except Harry Maguire.
Oh, that's right.
Consistent quality yan si Slab.
Yeah.
One
may
thing.
mga break daw siyang record eh. He'll just
Yeah, the
Spanish
72
record.
consecutive
Yeah,
games, right?
Yeah. But yeah, if we're gonna get a holding midfielder, I mean Garner needs one more season, I think, but he's
Maybe
he's
more.
one of the guys that could help us. Yeah. All right, so we're on the hour. Thank you guys for coming in such short notice. But before we go, I want to get your score predictions and your man of the match. Gary, who's yours?
I'll go for the conservative this time. Nag 7-1 ako last time eh. So para lang maulit yung uli. Pero I'll go 2-1 United. If Liverpool tries to attack us, they're gonna get roasted. It's gonna be a bigger scoreline. Pero it's gonna be 2-1. Probably goals coming from Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood. And then
Man of the
probably a
match.
goal from either Mane or Salah. Man of the match. Ooh. I'll go with Pogba. Or Bruno. Pero sige, Pogba.
All right. Gab.
4-3 United. Greenwood with a brace. Man of the match.
4-3 party game. Charles.
Well, I think we're gonna have a 2-0. 2-0 to United. I think we're gonna keep a clean sheet because you know what? If we lose tomorrow, City have EPL, right? So I'd like to recast what I said earlier. I think this is a really, really big game and that United will be out to get it also. So I agree with Cap. When it comes to the counter-attacking right now, I think we have the edge over Liverpool. So as long as we stay tight in the back, 2-0, man of the match, Bruno.
All right. Paulo.
3-1 United. I think we may concede because I just feel that Liverpool are just going to throw everything at United, and I think we may crack just a bit, but there's gonna be so much room at the back, especially at the wing. So I expect Mason Greenwood to probably notch a brace. So yeah, brace for Mason Greenwood, man of the match, Mason Greenwood. 3-1 to United.
And Jason.
I'm actually gonna go with 3-1. Same thing with Pau, but Liverpool's definitely gonna score first. I'm putting my money on them scoring first. Then that lights up a 3-0 second half. Probably Bruno, man of the match. I think.
You took my prediction out of the water. I mean, they're gonna score first, definitely, and we're gonna get 5 goals to beat them with Cavani, Greenwood, and maybe a Pogba and Bruno go out there. So yeah, second half FC. I'm seeing this coming definitely. So other score predictions from the fans: 2-1, 4-3, 3-2, 3-1, 3-0. Doesn't matter. As long as you win, it's a good game, right? So again, thank you, panelists, for joining us tonight on such short notice. Thank you for those joining us in the live chat. Do catch the replay on our YouTube channel and the Facebook page. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much. And I'm a cue one more thing because Gary worked so hard on this. So yeah, thanks again, and maybe we'll see you Thursday, right? So
Yes.